We had a sense of trepidation as we left Ushuaia and headed out across the Great Passage towards the Antarctic Peninsula. With its reputation of being the world's roughest sea and sometimes known as the ship's graveyard, we wondered how our cruise ship would fare.
That night's sleep was patchy, but tiredness eventually caught us up and we found ourselves still dozing in and out of sleep until mid-morning. You okay, guys? Unlike you to lie in so late.
Good morning from the Drake Passage, and it's not too bad out there. There's quite a swell going on. We were late leaving Ushuaia last night, and woken up this morning. We wondered why we were late leaving, but on our Facebook group page for this particular cruise, there are reports that there was sadly a fatality on board last night, with reports of an ambulance attending and a fire engine attending as well. We're not sure whether that's true or not, but if it is, obviously that's deeply sad news, and our thoughts go out to the family affected. Hopefully we'll hear some more later today. Anyway, we're crossing the Drake Passage now, and the seas they're fairly choppy. The boat is moving around, and it's a stagger down the corridor type morning, I think. But hopefully the crossing itself won't be any worse than this.
We were in shock about the reported fatality on board, so very, very sad. Then breakfast, and as we headed to the buffet, we did feel some movement on board, or was Nessie just faking it?
It isn't like that. You're exaggerating. It's fine. God, you drama queen. Look at this. Look, yeah, she is drunk. You're absolutely right. Never mind. It's a good bar though, isn't it? The cocktails are great.
After breakfast, we thought we would take a tour of the ship to see how the ship and those on board were coping. At first glance, the seas seemed no rougher than elsewhere in the world.
So, what's it like on a sea day crossing the Drake Passage? We're going to have a wander around the ship and just see what's going on, see what people are actually experiencing. Okay, well, it's still not too rough. There's a bit of a swell on, and there's definitely movement on the ship. Oh, unsurprisingly, there aren't people out here sunbathing. How cold is it? It doesn't feel that cold given where we are in the world. Hot tub's empty, first time I've seen that. Also, they've battened down all the tables and chairs. There's a few people sat out around. I wonder if the pool is netted over. Let's have a quick look. So I'm quite surprised they haven't netted the pool over, so technically you could go for a swim. Not sure I'd want to, but yeah, I'd have expected them to net the pool over. Yeah, it's quite surprising actually. It's fairly normal, isn't it? Actually.
Yeah, running tracks are still open. We can still walk around out here.
There's definite movement. You can't really walk in a straight line.
And it isn't, we haven't had too many beers yet.
Not yet, that's later. Courts are still open, although nobody using them. Now the upper sun deck is closed. That's the first thing we've seen that's closed so far. Diving nets are still open to use if you want to. And how are these seas? Still quite calm, I would suggest. They have been a bit rougher earlier on, but not much rougher than this. Still no whales. The sheltered outdoor deck at the rear still fairly quiet. Not seen this in a lot of use this week at all. Hot tubs are empty again. Wow, who'd have thought? Okay, buffet really busy as usual. People just sat there drinking tea, having a chat, enjoying the scenery and the warmth. Don't blame them. Shum area looks fairly busy. A few people enjoying the Starbucks. Ocean's Bar and Grill looks pretty quiet. Very few people enjoying that. It's around about lunchtime right now. Give you an idea of how the ship is actually whilst we're on the Drake Passage. Doors to the promenade deck are shut, but there are some that's open. Locked? Always locked as well, but there are people clearly out on the promenade deck playing quoits. Deck 7 now, it's quite busy down here. Lots of people just looking around. There's people in the shops. To come out of one of the pedestrian doors, there's quite a few people out on the promenade deck. We'll just have a wander around, see what we can see. People playing deck games, people taking photographs. There's people out on the promenade deck. So is this worse or better than you thought it was going to be?
A lot better than I thought it was going to be fair.
I thought it was going to be Drake Shake.
Have you got Drake Lake today?
Yeah, probably. Oh, it's a little bit, isn't it?
It's a little bit wobbly, isn't it?
Yeah, but not as bad as I thought it was going to be, because they say it's one of the roughest seas in the world.
Not today, it's not.
No.
Yeah, occasionally you'll get a wave hit the ship and it makes the ship kind of lurch a bit. It's a little bit of a shock when it happens, but not too bad. Look, Nettie can walk in a straight line. See if you can, go on, because it is a bit wobbly. Look at that. Years of practice for the police, eh? So one distinct advantage about being on a rough sea in the ship is that your step count goes up because you don't walk in a straight line. So you do actually more steps than you would have done otherwise. So there you go. Every cloud and all that. So there's the view off the back of the ship. Get a better idea of the swell now. Right, let's go back in, finish off the lower decks and give our verdict on how it's been. It looks like the automatic doors are shut, but the manual doors do open, we hope. Yes, they do. West Lounge is relatively quiet. Idea where we are. We've got a little map down at reception. It's also on the TV in your room, this as well. We're doing 19 knots. And it shows how far south we are. We're well and truly in the Drake Passage on our way to Antarctica. That's our tour around Norwegian Star on our day across the Drake Passage. That's fairly normal, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, not too bad.
Not too bad at all. There is definitely some movement, and we've seen some people who are starting to show sort of effects of the seasickness. You can see that, and the seasick bags are out on the stairways. But, you know, nowhere near as bad as people make out so far for us anyway.
Well, we've been lucky, haven't we, I think?
Let's hope we continue to be lucky and the seas stay as they are.
The ship had also briefed us that we needed to hand them our passports to enable us to visit the Falkland Islands. There was a 5-hour time window for all passengers to do this, and the queues were long.
Si still wanted to catch up on some lost sleep, but I decided to leave him snoring and take in another of the enrichment lectures, this time about ice and how it forms and behaves in Antarctica. And after that, I did a bit more reading. Waking from his slumber, the Kraken awoke. Si, and he was ready for another meal. And afterwards, we hit the Bliss Bar again for another amusing game show.
This really was a Clash of the Titans affair, and all the passengers on board seemed up for a laugh, and some of them like a whiskey too, and this night quickly became a whiskey night. This day and this crossing of the Drake Passage really hadn't been too bad at all, and certainly no worse than we'd previously experienced in the North Sea, and everyone we spoke to agreed the same, in that we'd had experienced Drake Lake and not Drake Shake.
However, we also knew the weather and the sea conditions could quickly turn, and we hoped that we'd reach the shelter of the Antarctic Peninsula before it did. We knew that early in the morning, that's where we'd be, and we began to get proper excited.
It was day 9, and this was our big day. We had at long last made it to the Antarctic Peninsula, and we were heading for Paradise Bay.
Well, one of us drank a little too much whiskey last night. Can you guess who?
Good morning. We definitely survived Drake Lake, which was really no issues at all yesterday, was it?
Not at all, no.
Really good. And today we have made it to our travel goal. We are in Antarctica. Excited.
Yay!
So, yeah.
I think we're waiting to go to Paradise Bay at the moment, aren't we?
Yeah, we're just sort of moored off Paradise Bay at the minute.
Yeah.
And then we're just waiting for the nod to go into Paradise Bay, and hopefully we'll see some amazing sights here in Paradise Bay, because can't believe how excited I am.
I know, so excited. We're just going to pop off and get some breakfast, aren't we, first?
Amazing. Anyway, stay tuned and we'll show you around Paradise Bay.
Yay!
Some breakfast, and we togged up for being outside. What's the weather like outside, Si?
Okay, we're up on the pool deck now and it's raining. Obviously shelter from the wind down here. I'd say it's just above freezing, I would say. It's fairly cold, but not perishingly cold down here anyway.
We headed up to the heli deck to find a good spot for the day ahead. So here we are, all dressed up in our togs. Anyone would think that we're going to the Antarctic.
Certainly helps being British.
Yeah.
We're used to the cold and the wet.
And we're just waiting for our slot to go into Paradise Bay. So we're just, it's 10 o'clock is our slot, isn't it? And what time is it now? Half 9 now. So we're just waiting for our slot. At the moment, it's not really that cold, but I'm sure when we get closer, it will be, it'll drop, I'm sure.
And there's not many people about either, amazingly.
No, I think most people are having their breakfast. Yeah, we're on the helipad. Yeah. Because that's supposed to be the best place.
You get views both sides of the ship from up here, and there's a low railing rather than the glass screens as well.
That's right.
It does mean you're exposed to the wind and the rain a bit more, but
that's why we're togged up.
That's why we're togged up. All right.
We'll report back later.
We stood on the deck soaking up the views of Antarctica. It was cold and raining, but the rain soon turned to snow. We were really glad we'd dressed for the weather and not turned up in flip-flops. Really, there were obviously a few Geordies on board, judging by their attire in such freezing cold weather.
The enrichment team began their narration of what we were encountering over the tannoy, and this helped us make sense of our surroundings. Firstly, icebergs, and lots of them, but colours, shape and movement all vary, and the reasons why were all explained. Wildlife sightings took a while. They would eventually become more frequent.
For now though, the scenery was the star of the show, and the rugged beauty of the Antarctic Peninsula takes your breath away, and if it doesn't, the icy winds of the glaciers surely will. It is just stunning though.
OMG, look where we are. This is amazing in Antarctica. It's absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely stunning, look at it. Wow. Wow.
Staying warm was a bit of a challenge though.
So it's about 2 degrees out there, and it rains, then it snows, then it rains, then it snows, and just sailing in now past the islands into Paradise Bay, and it's beautiful out there. There's icebergs out there, and there's a few petrels swimming by the ship. People said they've seen blowholes for whales. We've not seen them yet. We'll look out for those.
Well, we're going to look out. We've just come in to like warm up a little bit because it's 2 degrees out there at the moment.
And the wind chill on top of that.
Yeah, and wind chill and everything. So we've just come to warm up a little bit, and then we'll get back out there. It looks like we're a bit closer to the icebergs now, so looking forward to seeing that.
As we went further into the Antarctic Peninsula, the snow became heavier and the temperatures dropped just a little bit further.
Let's say hello, you're in the snow.
A nice touch was the crew were serving hot chicken broth to passengers out on the deck.
A fellow passenger had an Antarctica flag with them and was kindly loaning it to others to get that trip of a lifetime photo. Thank you, this was a really kind gesture.
We were determined not to miss anything and scoured the horizon for wildlife and any unusual features. Black thing there, it looks like it might be a bit that might come off, do you think? Can you see it over there?
There's an iceberg over there.
No, not the iceberg, the big mountain. Can you see the big mountain?
Yeah.
Can you see like there's a black sort of curve on the mountain? Can you see it?
Within the bay, the seas were calm and still, and soon wildlife sightings started in earnest. Humpback whales, penguins, porpoising, orcas and plentiful seabirds all abundant. We just couldn't take our eyes off the seas around us. It was spectacular.
A bitter wind blew off the glaciers, and as we approached Paradise Harbour, icebergs appeared more and more frequently. This was beyond our expectations.
Look how stunning this place is. It's absolutely incredible. What we've dreamed of. If a bit chilly.
So far, we've been surprised that the decks haven't been that busy with passengers, but once in Paradise Harbour, this changed.
It's getting
viewpoints, places to take your photos is a little tricky in parts of the ship. The helipad area is now very busy, and everybody's trying to cram onto the running deck now, but you can't blame them. Look at the views. Stunning.
Time for lunch, and as we sat behind the glass of the restaurant, humpback whales surfaced really close to the ship. Not the best footage, but it was a real wow moment.
After lunch we were treated to more of the same as we went deeper and deeper into Paradise Harbour. The ship opened at the bow area normally reserved for crew, and this offered a near 270-degree panorama. There were big queues for this soon after it opened, and our tip was to wait an hour before attempting this.
This afternoon kept giving us the most incredible views, and although we were cold, we were determined to stay out on deck.
Eventually the ship did a 180-degree U-turn within Paradise Harbour. It's a strange and silent place and may not be everybody's idea of paradise, but it certainly is the stuff dreams are made of. And then sadly we were sailing away, but what a day it had been.
Back in our room, we got changed ready for our evening. So have you enjoyed today, guys?
What a day we've had here at Paradise Bay, Paradise Harbour in Antarctica. Wow.
It's been absolutely stunning.
What a place. That's visually amazing. And
We've seen penguins, we've seen humpback whales, there were a couple of orcas, but we didn't see the orcas, did we?
no, they were around, but we didn't see them.
We didn't see those.
But we saw loads of icebergs and just
absolutely stunning.
what a place.
Yeah.
A real experience.
We saw some carving, didn't we?
Yeah.
We didn't get any footage of it, but we saw it and heard it.
But suddenly we've just had an announcement over the tannoy from the captain that owing to a weather system that's coming in, that's going to create quite a significant swell in the ocean, and he was talking about 10-meter high waves.
Yeah, I know.
They are sadly aborting tomorrow's visit to Elephant Island, which is really disappointing, obviously, but we'd rather be safe and not in the 10-meter waves.
Sad, isn't it? Because you've been reading the Shackleton book, haven't you? And all that. So it is really sad, but obviously safety comes first.
Safety first, absolutely. So, but at least we've had a day here and we've ticked Antarctica off our
and it
list.
has been absolutely amazing, hasn't it?
Stunning.
Really
Absolutely
amazing.
stunning. So an evening on board tonight, and we're just going to go and have a meal and probably a few more glasses of wine, hey?
Yeah.
To be honest, losing the Elephant Island stock was a blow, especially for Si, who was a big fan of the Ernest Shackleton story and was reading yet another book on him during this cruise. But 10-meter high waves, no thank you, and we were grateful that the captain wasn't taking unnecessary risks and the sea charts really didn't look good.
An evening meal in the main dining room was most enjoyable, and we finished off our night in the excellent mojito bar on deck 13. Why oh why hadn't we found this sooner? It had been another amazing day, and we were hoping for some amazing sleep if the Drake Passage would let us.
Day 10 was an unexpected sea day.
Well, good morning. And the captain did safely navigate us, I think, out of the heaviest of seas yesterday. Here we are this morning, we're in the Drake Passage. We're not heading to Elephant Island, sadly, which is a real shame. Looking forward to that, but rather be in safer seas than terrible seas. But I think there was some movement in the night. We haven't had the greatest night's sleep, but the captain's done a great job getting us into these calmer waters. Right, so I'm going to go for breakfast, isn't it? Blessed is having a lie in. Don't blame her. But there's a lecture this morning on Ernest Shackleton that I really want to attend. So I'm going to grab some breakfast and then go to my lecture.
So I took a quick breakfast and headed into the theatre for the excellent lecture on Ernest Shackleton.
Whilst I enjoyed a lovely lie-in and a more leisurely late breakfast.
So what to do on this unexpected sea day? It was snowing outside and the winds were icy cold. The seas were getting rougher and access to outside areas was eventually being restricted, and we were getting chilly anyhow.
So we've got a 2 to 2.5 metre swell on the sea, and it's snowing, and they're saying it's going to get worse. Okay, could get a bit of Drake shake later on today. Well, the ship certainly has a different feel on wet, cold sea days than it does on the sunny sea days that we had earlier on in the cruise. Everybody is crammed into the indoor spaces, and it's quite busy in all of those spaces. The Ginza restaurant is put over to people who just want to read and play board games, and that's where we are now, just sitting down with our books. But pretty much everywhere indoors is packed. It's cold, wet, raining outside. It's about 4 or 5 degrees above, and the seas are quite choppy again. And they've just put an announcement over the tannoy saying that tomorrow, although we're still crossing the Drake Passage, we're heading up to the Falkland Islands, and we've been told to encounter some pretty rough seas tomorrow. So we'll see how we go with that. But making the most of our days on the ship, it's nice to get a bit more sleep and a bit of reading done, and the lectures this morning were spot on as well. So.
Then some lunch in the main dining room. Really tasty. How are those seas looking, Si?
It's really blowing a blizzard now, and it's pretty chilly out here. The sea's not hugely rough, but there's some real movement on the ship now. It wasn't nice being out on deck, so we stuck to indoors. Even more reading followed in the atrium area, and the combination of a good meal and the rocking motion of the ship and all the reading made us rather sleepy, so we retired to our cabin and grabbed a nap. Actually, it was quite a long nap. Was this tiredness, or was it a bit of seasickness? No matter what, the sleep was good.
When we woke, the seas were getting rougher and rougher, and the swell reached at least 3 to 4 metres. We headed up to the buffet to get a cup of tea.
So a quick storm update. We've just been sat with one of the officers on the ship who had his phone out, which had the weather charts on. It does look as though there's a really severe storm ahead of us, and the captain's decision is to slow the ship right down to allow the storm to pass in front of us whilst going around the back end of the storm. So at the minute we've got about 4 metre swell out there, which is giving a bit of movement, but is bearable, and everybody's having a fairly normal time on the ship. But if we were to go any faster, we would be right in the main part of the storm, which has got currently 8 metre swell, so double the height of the swell that we're currently experiencing. It would be very uncomfortable. So really good move from the captain, although he has got to speed up quite a lot once we go around the back end of the storm, just so that we can resume our normal schedule and get to Stanley on time. But at the minute, the plan is, all being well, that by the time we get to Stanley, the storm will have passed, and provided the wind's okay, we should be able to get the tenders into Stanley.
The possibility of seasickness was again going through our minds, and again seasick bags appeared in the stairwells. Access to the promenade deck was again prevented, as well as areas of the main pool area.
We took in a light meal in the buffet before heading to the theatre for a magic show. To be honest, our expectations were low, but this magician pleasantly lifted everyone's spirits with a performance of cleverly crafted tricks and routines in both Spanish and English. There was plenty of humour in the show, and we left glad we had attended.
The Mojito Bar was rapidly becoming our favourite bar on the Norwegian Star. So to hell with the rough seas and let it rock. Well, the ship can rock anyhow. And fittingly enough, it was rock night in the Bliss Lounge too, and the house band belted out cheesy rock classics whilst we continued to fully sample the drinks menu. And eventually, we staggered back to our cabin. That was due to the heavy seas, of course.
Day 11, and boy were the seas rough overnight. Si is always the scientist and decided to measure the tilt of the ship in the swell.
I do love my science, and whilst a 6-degree tilt in our Deck 5 midship cabin was common, at one point in the night we did measure an 8-degree tilt. However, by the morning things had settled.
So despite the choppy seas last night, the ship is just really continuing as normal. Normal areas are opening up, the viewpoints across the atrium are opening up, the pool deck's opening up, and the buffet breakfast is a little quieter than usual. I'd have to say people are just getting about their business, so obviously hasn't affected too many passengers in the night.
The awesome crew also lifted everyone's mood.
1, 2, 3, go! Coffee, 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 camellia. Hey, you drinking? Thank you so much.
This was yet another sea day as we crossed the Drake Passage, and this time we had certainly had a bit of Drake shake. Okay guys, tell us how bad it really was.
So how was your night crossing the Drake Passage in the Drake Shake?
Yeah, it was pretty good actually. It was a little bit choppy in that, but it was quite nice. It was actually rocking me to sleep.
It was like being rocked in a cradle as a
It
kid, wasn't it?
was,
Yeah, no,
yeah.
gently rocking you to sleep.
Yeah. That's why I'm feeling tired all the time.
But the ship's a bit quieter this morning, isn't it?
It is a lot quieter. We managed to get space for breakfast.
That was a bonus.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but a lot of the things are still shut off, aren't they?
Yeah, you can't. There's lots of people going around on the promenade. But I don't know how they're getting out there because it's actually blocked off. What we've seen.
They've shut all the doors that we could
Yeah.
find, so somebody's either found a door that isn't blocked or
Yeah.
just gone through the barriers. Fool if they have.
Yeah,
But the pool deck's still closed, isn't it?
that's all closed off. Yeah, they've got all this like yellow tape up there now to stop people going across, haven't they?
But the sun's out,
Yeah.
even if it is windy.
Really, it looks really pretty out there.
And it's beginning to warm up a bit too, isn't
Yeah,
it? So,
it has. Yeah.
Anyway, so another day at sea for us today. I finally finished my book, hopefully.
Yeah.
And we're going to take in a few more shows and bits of entertainment today. Stay tuned.
We were over halfway through this cruise and more hand-washed laundry was in order, and again we tucked into our books before lunch.
After lunch, we noticed the seas were calm enough to allow access to the promenade and pool deck again. We love a promenade walk no matter what the weather is, but it's fair to say that this walk was, bracing.
Well, it's nice to be able to walk the promenade deck again. We're coming to the end of the Drake Passage now, which has been a bit of a welcome relief, hasn't it, really?
It has, yeah. It's still a bit nippy, so still togged up nice and cosy, but it's nice to get out and get a bit of exercise.
And the seas are still a little bit on the choppy side. Let's have a quick look. You kind of get that. And we're still walking as if you, well, certainly if you've had a few too many Prosecco's, as if we're walking down here. But overall, you know, we've had Drake Lake on the way out. We've certainly had Drake Shake on the way back.
Yeah.
Not been too bad. There's obviously some people been ill.
Yeah, there's been, I think there's some sort of lurgy or something going around on the ship.
Well, it could be seasickness, but some people are clearly in their cabins. But for us, it just made me want to sleep a bit more, to be honest. But
It's quite nice. It just watches to sleep, doesn't it?
yeah. Anyway, so it's nice to be able to do a bit of deck exercise again if you can't walk in a straight line. And we'll update you on the activities tonight. We're going for an Italian meal tonight.
This was a most beautiful deck walk with the sun creating rainbows in the sea spray.
Again, when we headed back inside, we noticed that all the sick bags had been used up. Not put off, we went for a coffee in Starbucks and then we attended another port guide talk. These are excellent, and this time we were briefed on Port Stanley in the Falkland Islands.
We had booked another speciality dining experience for the evening, and this time it was in La Cucina, which provides an Italian dining experience. So how was it, guys? We've just come out of La Cucina, which is a speciality dining Italian, and it was very tasty actually. I had a braised lamb shank with a lemon, garlic and parsley sauce and a saffron risotto. It was really tender. The lamb shank was really tender. It was quite fatty, but then sometimes you do get that in the lamb shank. But full of flavour. The risotto for me had a few little hard bits in it. And it sort of lacked a bit of flavour really for myself. It was really, like I say, the lamb shank was really nice. I would probably give it, out of 5, I'd probably give it 3.5. But I did try some of Simon's Meat Feast pizza, and that was amazing. That was really good. Then for pudding, I had a panna cotta, and it came with like a blackberry compote and a little meringues around the side, and that was a 5 out of 5 because that was really tasty. All in all, it was a really good meal, really good service. The wine kept on flowing. It was a really good wine. Oh, we had bread with the olive oil and balsamic vinegar to start off with as well. So all in all, a really good evening. So Si really was trying to pay homage to his favourite Monty Python sketch, Mr. Creosote.
Then another evening trying out the wines and enjoying the samba music in Gatsby's. Actually, this is now our favourite bar in Norwegian Star. This is a debate that could rumble on and on and on, and as the sun set over the horizon, it did just that.
But we had survived the Drake Shake and fulfilled lifelong dreams of seeing the magical continent of Antarctica. And tomorrow we'd hopefully set foot on the Falkland Islands, and we had high hopes of another amazing day ashore, but this time with added penguins.
Supporting our channel helps us make more content like this, and the easiest way to do that is to hit the like button and subscribe. Thanks very much.